I have a good friend, David Doan, speaking to us today. He has a deeply personal story with hepatitis B, and we'll just be talking about his story as well as some everyday things about his life now and how he's dealt with Hep B. So stay tuned, and I'm glad you're joining us. Dave?
Hepatitis B or Hep B definitely has played a huge role as far as the health aspect of my family, my immediate family, but also my extended family. So I guess it was around 2009, 2010. I wasn't feeling very well. I was very tired and just very lethargic, and I've been always been very active, play sports, and never had to really worry about why something would come down. It wasn't this day off, and I remember vividly in on Monday, and I went into Mass General Hospital, MGH, a huge hospital in Houston. I'm sorry, in Boston, and I just like, I don't feel well. I'm a nurse. I know, when my symptoms is just not coinciding what I believe it would be. So I got all my tests checked, and literally everything got checked out. You can name it from the typical. That day, on Columbus Day on that year, I found out I was HIV positive. So just that, and lo and behold, I was told that I have dormant hepatitis B that has been inflamed by this new recent infection. And I just like, oh my gosh, is this one big thing? Do I have to deal with a second thing? And I remember earlier. So when I started to talk within my family, I realized that my mom has been on treatment with antiviral for Hep B, but she didn't really understand or really know how to share it or whether she should share it. Just kind of personal. Everybody has their own medical history. And then I realized that my family on my mom's side, I have 11 aunts and uncles because it's a family of 12. I realized that five that I'm aware of are on some sort of antiviral treatment for Hep B. And that just made me like, oh my gosh, this is like a really big problem. And
Um, and I think the way in which you found out about your hepatitis B is something that's actually pretty normal because people don't have symptoms for hepatitis B. It's some other health screening, some other problem that presents in which hepatitis B is found through a series of tests. And unfortunately, since hepatitis B testing alone isn't that common, that's a way in which it's found. But I'm glad for you that it was found so that you could do something about it.
needed to do. My mom, I really was more involved with her care because she just couldn't take certain medication because it was just so hard on her as far as
Mm.
nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, all the things. But I can only speak for her. She understand the importance of taking it, so she struggled through of going through the treatment just because she also was aware of the seriousness of the diagnosis.
Okay.
So on. And frankly, if you don't have any the symptoms, why would anyone request, can you scream if I have B? It's just
Right,
a
right.
dialogue that anyone will have.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest
Yeah.
problems.
Yes, right. And he was having problem. He had allergies too. We both have really bad allergies. New Jersey is where he lived, and he worked in Manhattan and so on. So he was working and working and working, just like I always work. Like, and he just like, oh my gosh, I'm coughing all the time. I'm coughing. I'm feeling pain. I'm always like very tired, and so on and so on. And I said, well, why don't you get a checkup? Same thing, very busy, can't deal with it right now. Until the pain, his epigastric pain up here, right in the middle of, he could not endure any longer. Like,
Mm.
when you conduct,
Yeah.
you just have to be physically fit too. And
Hmm.
he went in and got checked in into the ER and got the battery of work, and his liver enzyme was elevated, extremely elevated, and he was all his labs were out of whack. And 4 days, it took a long time to get the diagnosis, a
Mm.
long time, a lot of screening, a lot of ultrasound, a lot of this and that scan, and so on. He was diagnosed with Hep B, of course, but what was very traumatic was liver cancer stage 3, leaning on stage 4. And this is like the very first time that he was introduced to the healthcare system. He never heard of it. He passed away 2 months by living his last 2 months in the hospital bed. So is hard. So that's the first time he got introduced to Hep B, unfortunately, with liver cancer, and literally did everything. I mean, I was on the call, I was on the phone. My mom stayed by his bedside every single day in various hospital rooms for 2 months until his passing. He was transferred. Ultimately, the last 2 weeks was in the inpatient hospital in the Bronx, Calvary Hospital. So that's hard.
So your brother went from feeling pain and coughing if tired to feeling intense pain to finding out that he had hepatitis B and then subsequently late stage liver cancer. Um, I mean, and then for him to pass away just 2 months later, it is still mind blowing to me that this disease does this, that it can go from someone feeling almost perfectly fine or normal to passing away within the year. It's one of the things that really gets me up in the morning because this is something we can stop. This is something we can prevent. We have all the tools necessary, and it's not even like the tools are that expensive or time consuming or complex. Um, Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. I also wanted to say thank you for what you do with your organization because this is a forum that is unique and is not, I don't believe, that is just available across the country. And also, I wanted to thank the people ahead of me who might have shared their stories in any way, whether it's on video or not. There's a message in the story to be shared, but there's also these other things that are all invisible. It's like how someone deal with it, psychosocial, the ability to manage all of that. So there's an opportunity for education, I think. Education because I was educated about the severity and just how common it might be for someone within our APA community to consider or think about getting tested and screening for Hep B. I think is an important message is let's demystify the myth